I don't think I can get away with wearing these glasses. They're blue light glasses, so obviously help me protect me little eyeballs. However, my ring light keeps shining through, and as you can see right now, I look like a robot. So maybe not, unless you guys can ignore it. But I don't know if I can, so we'll see how fed up of it I get. I do look a bit odd with when they keep flashing on my pupils. Oh, I'll make my mind up, I promise. I'll make my mind up. Okay. Hi guys, I'm gonna take them off. I can't, I'm already sick of it. Hi guys, I hope you're having a lovely morning. I say that, and I'm filming this when it's like dark out. Like, it's not dark, but it's, what is the time? It's not even 8 o'clock, and it's already quite moody outside, which means it's autumn. Autumn is approaching. It's officially the bear months, guys. My favourite time of year is autumn and September. September isn't a season. Autumn and winter. Specifically October. I am a Halloween girly through and through. October and December, best times of year. Although the whole bear months are just fabulous. Like, I'm so excited to just waste my money on coffee and candles and do cute baking. I have a plan for maybe tomorrow. I'm going to make some cinnamon rolls, because I haven't done that since uni, because I used to do it all the time. I'd make quite a habit of, I'd do pizza rolls for dinner and cinnamon rolls for dessert, and I do that quite a lot for the girls at my flat, and they were quite a big fan, and I haven't done them either in a while, so maybe I'll have to try some pizza rolls. But yeah, I want to do cinnamon rolls because it's so autumnal, and I think we're just going to do the classic cinnamon because everybody loves classic cinnamon roll. But I did see some really nice recipes for some like lemon cinnamon rolls, so maybe I'll do a cute little baking video tomorrow for you guys to like put up. But I'm not exactly a very aesthetically pleasing person when it comes to filming what I'm doing, so but maybe that will help me practice. So hope you guys have had a lovely week. Obviously last week's episode was about money. This week's episode I am going to be talking about correcting your mindset when it comes to yourself and very negative opinions of you. Because let's be real, I think we all do a bit of self-deprecation, and like obviously a little self-deprecating joke is fine. Like, everyone does self-deprecating jokes where you make fun of yourself, and I think you should be able to do that 100%. If you take yourself too seriously and can't joke about yourself, I think you're just almost winding yourself up more. If you are so easily offended by things that don't need to be wasted energy on, don't. Like, because I do remember, like, maybe when I was a teenager, if someone like poked fun of me, and even if it was like you know, in a malicious way, like, or even in a funny way, I would go as red as a beetroot and I would take it so personally. Whereas now, I think people could literally say something so malicious to me, and I have confidence in myself that I would be able to handle it, like, pretty well. Like, I think I'd be like, okay, what's your problem, bitch? Which I think is a good skill to have, because I never was like that. I was very sensitive, and I still have some sensitive thing, like I still have the dregs left from being a teenager. I'm still a bit of a sensitive sausage. Like, my friends can definitely tell you that. But it's important to, have those jokes. But then when it comes to it, it's important to recognise when you're talking about yourself and thinking about yourself in a way that you didn't deserve. At the end of the day, you are with yourself all day, every day, right? You say hi, you look in the mirror, that's you, that's the person you're with, your brain, that inner voice, it's all you. And you're stuck with her / him all day, every day, for the rest of your life. So you're quite well acquainted already. So obviously, because you're well acquainted, your brain knows exactly what to say to trigger you and to really get under your skin. You get me? And I think everyone's brain does this. Obviously, it's different levels. Some people have it really bad, and others just kind of have like a nagging that they can kind of brush off really easily. And I mean, there's probably some weirdos out there that don't have it at all. I'd like to know your secret, because you just like wake up happy. How does that feel? Weird. I can't comprehend. So yeah, at the end of the day, I think we all need to reconsider how we are thinking and talking about ourselves, whether we realise it or not. Because obviously there are times where you're feeling particularly kind of shit and you are actively participating in degrading yourself. And there are also times where you can probably catch yourself thinking something and going, whoa, where's that come from? Like, I wasn't even thinking of anything related to me. Now all of a sudden this is in my head, which I think both are just as impactful on how you feel about yourself. Like, participating in it and doing it subconsciously, I think they're equally as damaging. So I kind of want to talk about my experience with that, but also practicing, like, actively correcting that mindset. Because I mean, I'm not some guru, I'm not brilliant at it. Like, I'm not like, yeah, I just let them water off a duck's back, brush off me, because no, girl, I still feel like shit and tell myself I look like shit and stuff. Like, got my spot patches on, I've not got makeup on, I've got a nice ring light, so it's helping me look a bit normal, but you know what I mean. Like, so yeah, I really thought this was a good subject to cover, because funnily enough, especially tonight, I have very much felt like very overwhelmed and very self-critical, and I did just come off my period, which is always a telltale sign. But yeah, I think this just really rings true, especially tonight. So, and I know, speaking to many of my girlfriends, that they do feel this too, quite often. Like, we've had hundreds of conversations, and we will continue to have conversations talking about how we feel about ourselves, probably until the day we die. And we'll probably watch our daughters have these conversations, and their daughters, and it's just like, self-criticism is never not going to be a thing. It's going to be around, no matter how secure you are in yourself. I think it's not about not having those thoughts, it's about how you address those thoughts, which make a person more secure in themselves. And I'm not I'm not completely like, sometimes you gotta fake it till you make it. But yeah, I want to discuss kind of like the steps I've been trying to make, and hopefully it will help you in some way, or maybe you can give me some tips, because I'm always trying to learn how to not listen to the noggin, because she has quite a chokehold on me. So I would quite like to know how to go about my life and wake up like a normal human being, just roll out of bed and not think about anything, instead of having like a hectic brain, like just every time I put my head on the pillow. So yes, that's what we're discussing today. So I think a lot, when you think about someone being self-critical, you probably, like, the first thing you think of is, where did that come from? So did it come externally, or was it all just like completely internal feelings that just, bubbled up too high? And I think for the most part it's a bit of both, surely. Although I think it's more tipping towards external sources. Because especially during school, we go through a lot of times where we don't know who we are and we're trying to conform. So when we don't conform, it's quite anxiety inducing, and we go through that for years. Like, school lasts years, so that's pretty heavy on us. But equally, it didn't stop in secondary, did it? Like, we stopped caring as much, but in reality, like, the constant reminder of what other people are doing and how other people are looking, whether it's real or not, is constantly shown to us the moment we pick up our phones. And we spend a lot of time on those things, and I really had to get out of the habit, because Instagram would be, for months on end, the first thing that I set my eyes on in the morning. Like, they would snap open after my alarm goes off, and boom, it's there. Which I don't allow myself to do anymore, which was really, maybe we'll have to do an episode about breaking out of bad habits, because I've broken out of a few, and it took me ages. Like, even something as minor as like biting the skin around my nails, stuff like that takes ages. So yeah, I've gotten out of that habit now of looking at my phone first thing, but I still spend an excessive amount of time on it in the morning. It is sadly part of my morning routine, and I'm getting better, but I can slip. Like, I feel as though sometimes I need like a pick-me-up. That's why I go on like TikTok or something in the morning, like I want something to like kind of just feed me things, like, so I don't have to think or watch anything too heavy. And then all of a sudden it's like work time. So yeah, it's like that and my morning coffee are like the things that like get me through. Either way, I digress. So obviously you're seeing all these people's lives, and you're like, just the nagging feeling starts. Like, before you've even brushed your teeth, you're like, they're being very productive. You see the whole like, my 5 to 9 before my 9 to 5, and you're like, oh shit, that girl has gone on a run, she's stretched, she's wrote out her like goals for the day, she's like, showered and done like a whole beauty routine, and then she's, doing the 9 to 5. And like straight away, you're like I rolled out of bed like 10 minutes ago, and the most I've done is look at my phone. So already you're like, oh, shit, I didn't start off the day well, did I? And then that just gets the ball rolling, doesn't it? Like, you're then like, I think you're either thrown into like hyper productivity, which, is it really good for us? Like, if we're just so consumed by the fact that we need to be doing something all the time, like, yeah, it's good to be productive, but don't like, literally beat yourself up if you don't write out your goals for the day. Because if your goal for the day was actually getting up before you start work, you've already done a great job. But those things aren't very aesthetic on social media, so of course they're not going to be like in, day in the life vlogs. Just how it works. However, even though I can recognise that, do I still feel immense pressure when I see said day in the life vlogs where people are doing so much productive things? before I've even thought about wiping my arse. Yeah, it makes me feel shit. But you got to recognise that. Again, the whole thing with external sources making us feel these ways. Because at the end of the day, I think you have two kinds of external sources. You have the kind that are not intentionally trying to make you feel bad. They're probably actually trying to induce something positive in you to do something, or change a habit, update a routine, or just feel inspired in some way. But those kinds can equally make you feel bad. And then there's obviously the kind that where people are being like specifically negative to you in order to make you feel bad. And obviously, I think in school, the latter was more of a reoccurring thing, whereas nowadays, it's more things are trying to make us more of the person we want to be, and it's making us go in ourselves more. Because we're like, but I'm not that person right now. Like, do I need to be? Like, what if I don't want to be? What if I could never be? And it just unleashes a range of silly questions that we have that we didn't even need to ask in the first place. So yeah, and then obviously a lot of internal sources come from what we have seen and what we've taken away from said external force. And I'm not always great at it, like, to be vague, to be blunt. Yeah, I'm rubbish. Like, one minute I could literally be like, that seems so unrealistic, and I know it's filmed and it's staged, and I highly doubt these people get up at 5 to 9 like, and do the 5 to 9 every day. If you do, you're a crackhead, and I respect it, but I don't believe it. Like, I'm just tired watching it. Like, I feel tired thinking about it. Like, it's just not the life for me. And that's fine, each to their own. And I think that's why we feel immense pressure, because we're like, oh, I'm supposed to be doing that, right? No, girl. Settle down. You know what I mean? I think once you address where they're coming from, and you've got to be brutally honest with yourself, and if they're mainly coming from you, and literally coming from things that you've literally fabricated, then that's when we need to address it. And I'm a girl like this. I completely get it. And I have these weaknesses. I will completely fabricate how, like, externally I'm being perceived. And that will just get the ball rolling, and then I will assume a bad scenario. And you know, the good old saying, assuming makes an ass out of you and me. And it does, because, like, you end up thinking about things that literally no one else has even thought of and don't even exist. So it's important to recognise when you're like, yeah, like, no one's actually being, like, negative towards me. Like, I'm projecting that onto myself and assuming others have already done that, when really, like, you can be your own worst enemy. I think we all can, like, me especially. Like, when I have actively caught myself doing such things, and I will discuss it in a minute, and it's just not, like, it's not for the benefit of anyone. Like, at the end of the day, you end up harbouring serious resentments to people who haven't even done anything, who, like, deeply love and care about you and have done everything they can to show you that. And yeah, I get it. Sometimes it's really hard to, like, even comprehend that people love and care you about, like, in the way that you never thought you could for yourself, or you don't for yourself, because some people really don't harbour any love for themselves, so they almost have a self-sabotaging approach to friends and family members and loved ones. And I've definitely recognised some patterns myself where I've tried to, like, sabotage
my own relationships, because I'm almost like, but they must be thinking bad things about me, so why would I bring my walls down when I can protect myself? But that's not how it works. And then you just end up being upset for things that you made up, and then you get in your head and your friends have to be like, what is happening? And then it's just like, you look like an idiot. You do. Like, you sometimes you've got to admit, like, yeah, I was a fucking idiot. Like, I thought about things and I completely, like, made these people into the enemy when they weren't at all. So, don't do that, girl. Correcting negative thoughts is quite a big step, in my opinion. And I have been trying to really do this, and it's been hard, especially this evening where I've really felt self-critical and overwhelmed by my thoughts. And like today especially, I spent a lot of time on social media, watching TikTok and Instagram, and spending a lot of time on platforms that I know cause me to go down a spiral if I spend hours and hours and hours on them. Again, self-sabotaging. And look, I get it. It won't always work. Like, I could say address it, but, like tonight, I'm not feeling like addressing it. And, I mean, I technically am. I'm doing a whole episode about it. So, I suppose this is a form of therapy in a way. But, yeah, like, sometimes you just don't feel like it. Like, tonight, I really didn't feel like doing the podcast. But I did, and I'm really glad I did. Because when you push through, you end up really coming out of it. Excuse me. I just did a really garlicky burp. I had Kiev for dinner. Yum. I'm my own worst distraction. Like, I couldn't just leave the burp. I just had to comment that I was really garlicky, and I had Kiev for dinner. It was a bit pink. I probably undercooked it, but did you need to know? Probably not, but I told you anyway. But yeah, I recognise that some days you're going to go, I don't want to address the fact that all those negative emotions are coming from me. But when you can, you should. Because you'll catch yourself out more than you think. What has really helped me is, because I feel as though, does everyone talk to themselves? I do, so I hope you do. I don't want to get sectioned, but I'm sure most people do, right? Whether it's like in your head or like out loud. I do a bit of both. I dabble, She's good company, and she's got great advice. But I try to consciously recognise, say, let me think of an example. Say I'm getting ready for the gym and I'm obviously putting my leggings on and my sports bra on, and obviously it's all quite tight and revealing because it's gym wear. It's supposed to be nice and airy and secure, because obviously it's supposed to be fitting and so you don't get caught on anything. And I've worn gym wear hundreds of times, so I get this more often than not, and I'm sure most people do when it comes to gym wear. But like actively changing and then thinking to myself as I'm going to the gym, you look a bit bloated. Excuse you. And the amount of times, like sometimes you will fall into the trap that your mind has set up, and you will go down into that rabbit hole and go, oh yeah, I am bloated, like I look really shit, and you'll be like, sucking in for the whole gym session and like looking around. No one cares. It's the gym, man. And also bloating's completely normal. And then sometimes I won't fall into the trap. Sometimes I'll go, well, yeah, I've just eaten dinner. Yeah, there's food in me. Of course, I have more, the belly's expanded to make more room for food. Or I'll be like, yeah, I'm on my period. Like, shit expands. And sometimes I'll be able to separate myself from the stupid thing my brain said. Or sometimes I will get hung up on it. So that is like an example of why I'm trying to like correct myself before the spiraling begins, because it's so shocking at how much little snipes I will just do to myself. Like, it's like I've got the little devil on my shoulder, you know, telling me not to do bad things, but to like think bad things of myself. I'm trying to think of another example that I had recently, just like, you know, related to like skin. I know I did like a reel recently about skin. Sometimes I will like completely define how I am worth that day if my skin is really bad. And, you know, sometimes my skin can be really bad and I can recognise you've got the same face, you just got spots on. And sometimes I can really be like, I can't show my face, like, and then I'm like scared to like wear anything revealing or strappy that like shows any spots, and it just consumes you, and it really shouldn't, like. But I think this is where addressing it before it becomes a whole like thought is really good. So I want you to actually practice when you actually catch yourself saying like, oh, like you ate a lot today. Speak back to yourself, go, yeah, so I was fucking hungry. Like, who are you to say I ate too much today? Yeah, I was hungry and I ate. What's your point? Just like address your like nasty inner monologue as like a high school bully in like an American series where the like victim finally like stands up and goes, hey, I don't think that's cool. Make it as cringy as you'd like. But you'll start realising, like, who is she to say, like, who is my brain to, like, dare the audacity? I take care of her and she tells me all these shit things about myself? No, she doesn't get that. I fucking feed her and wash, you know, keep me maintained. Why is my body like, yeah, we're going to be against this bitch? Don't fall for it. Don't let yourself deal with yourself. Like, because honestly, I think we've gotten to a point where we're not going to deal with anyone else's shit. Don't deal with your own shit, because it's such a waste of time. After you have recognised when it's happening and are responding to yourself and going, I'm not going to let myself think about that. Keep doing that, obviously. But, you know, it gets to a point where you're like, I'm just saying, like, don't think about that, but then you're going to think about it. Start unraveling it logically. And so a few people in my life have definitely told me to do this before, either when I'm by myself or, you know, with me. They've done it for me. And when you think things logically, and I know, like, when it comes to my anxiety, logic is not in the equation. It normally isn't. But when it comes to negative thoughts, if you dissect them and then actually think about like the actual fact behind them, the way it like is just completely loses it all. Like, you realise, yeah, that doesn't actually make sense. Like, oh, you've had 3 cookies today, like, you've lost all your progress in the gym. Have I? I don't think that's how that works. But yet, you know, I'll have a cheat day, or when I say cheat day, like, every day's my cheat day. Or I'll have, like, a rest day, and I'll think, oh, you didn't go to the gym today. That means, like, you're not as strong anymore, or you don't look as nice. What? Like, I want you to tell me when you have been to the gym and someone you often see has a day off, like you don't see them one day and then you see them the next day, do they look any different? And I will guarantee you will not think they look different unless they've done something drastic with like their body or hair. You're going to think, yeah, they look the same. Because guess what? It's only been a day. So why don't we start applying that to ourselves and think, of course I don't look different, it's been a day. Also, like I was talking about a few episodes previously, with hormones obviously contribute to how you see yourself a lot, like I did with like self-perception, like with camera and photos. It's like, I know hormones really have an impact of how we look and feel, but realistically, no one else is noticing it at all. Like, at all. Like, obviously, us girls always go through the same thing, but I couldn't tell you when my friends are on their period based on how they look. Like, we'll tell each other and then we'll know. Like, I'm not going to go, yeah, she's on her period, I can see it. No, you can't. No, you can't. But yeah. So when you dissect things logically, it kind of doesn't have any weight behind it to continue. Like, when it comes to me and I have really negative thoughts about the people in my life, say like, oh, like, you know, I've spent too much time on my phone or by myself. Like, I get like this quite a lot when I've been ill and I've been stuck in my room for like a few days, you know, too much time with the brain. And I will just start to think like, oh yeah, no one in your life loves you. Like, you know, you like, it wouldn't be, you know, you're just kind of there, you know, you're not anything special. And then you go to yourself, wait. What do you mean? Like, weren't my friends literally just texting me to ask how I was? Weren't they asking to FaceTime because they want to see me and they miss me? Weren't we just arranging to do meetups because we haven't seen each other in ages? Weren't we just all updating each other on each other's lives and all like our loves' lives and all this? They were just asking me a bunch of questions. Do people who don't care about you do stuff like that? You'd know if someone didn't care about you. So stop questioning, as I'm really directing it to myself, stop questioning that people love you. And I know it's hard because when it comes to my anxiety, sometimes it really can't be stopped. Like, it will just come. But like I said in the beginning of the video, it's all about not completely banishing it, just learning how to deal with it. And then that is how the success stories come out. But yeah, like, I get it so much where I'm like, I'm sure most people do with partners, but I'm like, yeah, my boyfriend just stopped loving me overnight. Which, to be fair, can happen, which is terrifying. But, like, obviously he hasn't. Because there's no, like, you just unpack it logically, you're like, didn't he just, like, go away and buy you a crystal because he knows you like crystal? Didn't he just buy you a candle that looks like a pumpkin spice latte because he knows you're bloody obsessed with autumn and pumpkin spice and the candles and combines them into one? Does someone who doesn't love you, do stuff like that? No, they don't. So logically, you stump the thought and it's like, oh shit. And then you're like, oh yeah, finally some sense. Don't have it much. But yeah, I was going to say something else, but I forgot. But I'm sure I'll remember in a minute, right? I can't remember what I was going to say. But I think it was important. I know I can just film it in a minute if I remember, but I really don't want to. I want to sign off. Make yourself a nice person to be around, because you got to hang around with her. So make her a nice person, because at the end of the day, you have full control. Well, not full control, but you have a majority of the control with how your brain talks to you. So try to smack her one if she's not talking how you want her to, because you can do that. You can mentally go, fuck off. Just give me a fucking break. And just remember, you are trying your hardest, and no one's fucking perfect. Like, you can be self-critical, like, in a way that's constructive, but don't just literally, like, bang on to yourself for the tiny, minute things that literally just put you down, because you're like, yeah, I am this, I am that. Think about what you are. Write down everything that makes you external from, like, typical, like, beauty standards or, like, success or whatever, like, financial, like, stuff. Like, just think, oh, I'm a nice person, I am fun, I like porn star martinis, I like books. Just focus on things that make you happy rather than just thinking, damn, like, I'm not doing that 5 to 9 before my 9 to 5. I will never do that. No matter how productive you get me, I'm never doing that. I like my sleep too much. And I'm okay with that. I've come to terms with it, and I'm okay. Sacrifices you have to make, I'll never see 5 a.m. unless I'm going on a flight, which I will be soon. I'm going to Italy. So I definitely will be getting up before 5 a.m. But that's fine. Or would I be getting up at 5 a.m? I think I'll be getting up at 5 a.m. Not too bad. But I will be sleeping after that. So anyway, I think this episode is done for this week. And I hope you enjoyed it. And I'd quite like to hear you guys' feedback about how you have dealt with self-criticism from yourself and negative thoughts, and how bad it's got, and how you have developed coping mechanisms and specific things to like stop yourself from getting to that point, or like removing yourself out of the pit once you've dived in too deep. So yes, I hope you guys have a lovely ordinary day, and I will be seeing you next week.